Hey guys, it's Flip, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the upper and lower drive belt on a Troy-Bilt Pony. So the first thing I'm going to do here is remove the deck to give me more access to these belts. If you do not know how to do this, I will put a link to my video on how to do this in the upper right hand corner right now and at the end of the video. Then I'm going to put my mower up on my homemade ramps to give myself more room to work. Again, if you would like to see a video on how I made these, I will put one at the end of the video. These ramps have detachable steps so I can move them out of the way to give myself more space. And then I use those steps to chock the wheels to keep the mower in place. But you could use a mower lift or a jack stand or anything else to get the mower up a little bit in the air to give yourself more room. Here's the two belts I'm going to put in. I ordered these right off of Troy-Bilt's website. I prefer to go with OEM when dealing with belts, just because when you go aftermarket sometimes they can vary a little bit, and that's going to affect the quality of the ride. You can definitely find these cheaper on Amazon if you want to do that, but I prefer to go with OEM. So we're going to start out with the upper drive belt. You have to do this one first, and to get to it we're going to take the battery out. So you need a 7/16 and a 3/8 wrench. They make the nut and the bolt different sizes on these connections. That way you don't need two of the same size wrench to take these wires off the terminals. So just start with the black negative wire and disconnect that. Then disconnect the red positive wire. Then take off this little metal bracket that's on top. Then take the battery out, and then there's a couple hanging brackets inside that the battery sits on. Go ahead and pop those out too. Just kind of tilt them and they'll come right out. Okay, so first we're going to switch out this upper drive belt, and in here where the battery was, you can see there are three pulleys in here. You have an idler pulley, you have a variable speed drive pulley, and the transmission pulley right here. So what we're going to do is take the belt off of this transmission pulley by loosening up on this bolt, and then we'll get this loose and take it off. But first we have to take off this spring that is on the idler pulley. Now you can do it from outside the mower. It's right here. You could put a piece of string on this hook and pull that spring loose, or since we have it up on ramps, we can just go underneath and pop it off pretty easy from underneath. So here's that idler pulley spring from underneath. I'm just going to grab this right here and go ahead and take that off. Then we'll go up top and get this top belt off. In this pulley right here, there is a hole that you can put a screwdriver in, and that will lock this pulley in place so that you can loosen this bolt right here. And once you get this pulley loose, you can get this belt off of here. That pulley is the transmission pulley, and it sits right up against that frame, and there's no room to get that belt off. So to get it off, you have to remove that nut and kind of tilt that pulley to the side at an angle, and then you can slide that belt off of the pulley. When you try to turn that nut, that whole pulley will turn, so sticking a screwdriver down in that hole locks the pulley in place so you can turn the nut by itself. I believe that nut calls for a 7/8 wrench, which I couldn't find, so I was using my crescent wrench. So one thing to notice is this has a little star pattern on it, so when you put this pulley back on here, just make sure you set that into that star pattern. But now we can kind of loosen this pulley up, and then we can get this belt off of here. So here I'm just fishing that upper drive belt off. Now once you get this off, don't put a new upper drive belt back on. We're going to go ahead and take the lower drive belt off, then put a new lower drive belt back on, then the new upper drive belt. But as you can see, this one was pretty torn up and definitely past due for changing. So now we're going to remove the lower drive belt, and to do this I'm just going to remove this engine pulley with an impact. So I just removed that middle bolt with a 5/8 inch socket, and now we can take that engine pulley off and remove the belt that runs to the back of the mower. So we got it off in the front. Now in the back, since this is a variable speed drive pulley, we can just push this up, and that'll allow us some room to push that belt up and get it over those guards just like that, and then we can take it off. And then we'll put it back on the same way. Just kind of push that middle part up, and you can feed it in here. And we'll put it back on the front and put our bolt back in. So here I'm going to put on the new lower drive belt, and I'm just going to kind of thread it up above everything and then drop it down around the lower part of that variable speed pulley and inside the guards that will keep it on. Then I'm going to put that engine pulley back on and wrap that belt around the top part of it and hold it tightly on there while I slide it up so the belt stays inside the guards. Then I'm putting that bolt back in. Always start by hand threading it first so you don't cross thread it. Then I'm going to use my impact wrench to tighten it up. Then I'm going to go back in through the top and feed the new upper drive belt around the 3 pulleys in here. It's kind of hard to film and show you exactly what I'm doing through this hole, but I'm basically going to start this belt around the idler pulley and the variable speed pulley, and then since I have some wiggle room around the transmission pulley with that nut still off, lastly I will feed it around that transmission pulley. Then I'm going to put that nut back on by hand. Again, make sure that star in that pulley lines up. Then I'll use a screwdriver again in that hole in the pulley to lock it in place, this time on the other side of that bar to keep it from turning the other way, and I'll use a wrench to tighten down that nut. Okay, so now we got to get this idler pulley spring back into this hole over here on the frame. So I'm going to show you from the outside how you can use a piece of string and pull that through. So here I'm just looping a piece of string through this hole in the frame, and make sure you go above this bar right here. Then you just loop it around the hook on your spring like that, and then feed it back up around that bar and back through the hole in the frame. Then you will get a good grip on your string. That'll give you some leverage to pull that spring until it connects to the frame, just like that. Then you just pull your string back out, or sometimes it'll break like it did for me right there. No big deal. Then you can put your brackets back in place that'll hold your battery. Then put your battery back in. Then connect your red positive cable first, and then your black negative cable. Then you can put the metal strap back on top that holds the battery in place and put the seat back down. Finally, you can lower your mower back down to the ground however you raised it. For me, that's just a matter of reattaching my homemade ramps and backing down off of them. And that's it. You're back in business with both drive belts replaced. Hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, please hit the like button for me and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.